First of all, tell me a little bit about, the genesis of the film and how you guys got the project.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't want to just roll over you saying Rod Serling was one of your mentors. That's incredible. We actually got to do one of the new Twilight Zone episodes recently, and it was like it was a lifelong dream because obviously I was also raised on Twilight Zone.
He and Gene Roddenberry taught me how to write. So
unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What was the other question? Sorry, I was really thinking about
Well, no, I listen, the Twilight Zone is no small deal, especially for us that, are huge fans of the original series. There was a series done in the 80s, not quite as good, but a rehash, but doing the new Twilight Zone, it's a brilliant series. And I think they're taking chances that they didn't want to take in the 80s.
Yeah, they let us, it was really wild. I mean, ours is about an octopus that's going to take over the world. It's like a pretty wild idea.
Anyway, I was asking about how you guys got the idea and how the film came about.
Okay. So we were just kind of like in between. I should say in between jobs. Unemployed is another word for it. Where we're sitting around. Probably a cafe or a bar or eating some lunch on a gig that we probably don't want to be doing. And Justin says, like, I had this idea kind of come at me like a lightning rod based off of a lot of what Alan Moore talks about in a lot of his work, which is that it's called eternalism, where there's no distinction between the past, present, and future. There's a Einstein quote that happens in Synchronic that Steve has memorized and gives to his dying patients as kind of an elegy, and it's that the distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. And the idea was that coupled with the idea is, what if you could take one of these designer synthetic drugs that you can just buy over the counter that's just been recklessly changed chemically in order to just be able to make it weirdly legal with bizarre side effects. What if one of those side effects makes it so that you could see no distinction between past, present, and future? Mm-hmm. That's where it began. And we just started yammering about that and like, who would be able to investigate that? Well, if it was cops, they'd have like guns on the poster and like kick down doors and be like, tell me where they are. So we're like, all right, let's not do that. Let's make them paramedics. So they still have these death scenes, but they're not empowered to be, investigating this. And there's so many things that spiral out of it from there.
I just realized that lunch also, I could have said, I just had this idea. What if bath salts made you see like Dr. Manhattan?
Cool. Well, let's do that movie next.
Yeah. Oh, that's what this one is. Yeah.
There's something metaphysically horrific, about that, because again, our brains aren't geared to see past, present, and future. We have to be linear, in our perception of time and our lives, and this kind of really steps into that, and it's a brilliantly done film, and you're working with some brilliant actors. So tell me about that process as well. Jamie Dornan, he's an amazing actor, and I think underrated.
Absolutely.
Oh, Jamie is so underrated. To start out with, and you do this type of thing these interviews, and as a filmmaker, you talk about the actors you work with. People always lay on hyperbole of, oh, they're so brilliant, they're so whatever. Yeah. Very truly, these guys are like the nicest people anyone will ever meet. And they were so kind to us. And we're on this very low budget movie, especially for them. Very low budget for them, even still a very low budget film. And they were so kind to us, and they are brilliant, and they were amazing. And like you said, Jamie has moments where like we'd yell cut, and then like Anthony would look over us and go, "Oh my god, cut the check!" like if you're blowing away Anthony Mackie, who's one of our great actors, There's not much higher praise than that.
He made me cry behind monitor one time for strange reasons, and that. I mean, sorry, he was acting, and he got me for some reason. It was just something that happened in my head, and actually also just. I know that we want to talk about the nuts and bolts of the performances and stuff like that, but I need to go back to how nice they are, because we're in New Orleans, and they were constantly like, "Hey guys, want to grab some drinks, grab some cigars, grab some food?" We would all just hang out all the time, and to see the way that people would treat them, like because they are major celebrities, and people would walk up to them and talk to them, the way they would respond was amazing. I mean, there was one time where somebody showed up to set to see Jamie. And the first AD was like, all right, hey, we'll be able to kind of drive you around so you don't have to interact with this person. We'll drive you from the place you're getting dressed to the set and all that. And he's like, no, let me just go talk to them. And he just went up and chatted with them for a few minutes, and the person got to see Jamie. He's so giving. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I know we only have
I mean, these are the nuts and bolts of
the funny thing about work.
We don't get that kind of, transparency from, when I do interviews, we do talk about, how they approach the role and whether they did improv and whatever. But I've interviewed Jamie and Anthony a couple of times over my career, and they are the sweetest people in the world. And for you as directors and the producers of a film to know that they wanted to be in that film, and took the money that they took, the little bit, to be in that movie has got to make you proud.
Yeah, I have no idea why those guys agreed to do this movie, but it was really nice because working with Anthony Mackie, you can just sort of like first off you act like you know what you're doing, and then you ask him, what would you do? Yeah. And then you know what the best way forward is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, then you just pay him in beignets because you're in New Orleans. So that
he's a New Orleans local too, so he gets paid in being able to hang out with his family and spend some time at home and all of that, But also, I mean, he was the Mardi Gras king or something like that. So they love him there. I mean,
and he and Jamie both are salt of the earth type people because they came up doing grunt work on sets and everything like that, so they haven't forgotten what that's like to work hard.
They're not.
And I know I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know also they interact with your extras and your atmosphere people as well.
Yeah, they were wonderful. Actually, there's this great moment in the behind the scenes. Well, I don't know if it made it to the cut, and it doesn't matter. That we were interviewing Anthony for the behind the scenes, and one of the questions was, whose performance are you the most excited about seeing? Because there's a lot of people in this movie. And, he's like, all right, it's obvious it's Jamie, but beyond that, and he kind of thinks about it for a second. He goes, oh, the looter at the very end. That guy was amazing. And his name is Bill Oberst Jr., who has been in our first movie, Resolution, and he is a national treasure, truly a national treasure. And he came with everything worked out, this weird accent, this song that he's going to be whistling. He had it all worked out. And he's like, and we didn't. It's weird as a director to not need to give anyone any direction. It's very weird. It makes you feel like you're bad at it or that you're not doing your job right to give no correction. There are some people that just need nothing. And Bill is one of those people. He's just like, just do exactly what your instincts say, man.
And I'm glad you do a shout out to those people too, because they work their asses off to give you what they think you need.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I say unbelievable. I know it's a very American thing to do, to just use the highest words for every single thing. But truly, when it would happen, Justin and I would look at each other and go, who does that? It's incredible how perfect it is, Yeah.
The big question is, audiences, what do you think they're going to pull from the film? What experience are they going to take with them out of the film?
We just want to make people cry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Melancholy tears. Melancholy tears. We really do hope that there's, however you feel about the idea of traveling through time or the past or anything like that, or facing your own death, or your familial relationships. We really do hope that people get this idea of the fact that that human connection in your present moment is kind of the only thing that matters. You know, any like we spend our lives making I guess what would be called art, but what I mean by that is we make a consumable thing.
Yeah.
One day that will be gone. No matter what, at some point in the future, the thing that we have created will crumble into dust. You know, the last hard drive will crash, you know. But the experiences that we had together are the only things that will never be taken away from its moment in the past. And that was the central tenet behind creating this movie. And look, that is couched within a very fun genre movie, but that was our North Star. That idea of like human connection in the present moment is the only thing that actually matters to us. That's the theme we're exploring. There's no moral to it, but you can also feel differently about it. But that's the exploration.
I think the human condition is explored, in such a way that I think any audience watching this film is going to walk away thinking, well, I matter, in such a way too, that it's not all for naught. I mean, it really does have a great sense of hope in this film, even though it's couched in, of course, the science fiction and the time elements and all of that, but it really offers up some hope.
Yeah, for sure. There's an interesting thing of, obviously the movie deals with death quite a bit, right? And hopefully in the journey of your life, hopefully you have moments where you're not just continuously terrified by the idea of death. We all should be very afraid of it, but like hopefully you have moments where this is something that's just going to happen and you find some sort of comfort somehow, right? Well, the premise of the movie, the idea of time, that it's not a flowing river, it's a frozen river. Well, what does that suggest? That suggests two things, and one's scary and one's great. The scary part is like, well, that's a scary thought. Like, wait, everything, like the way I experience it is not what it actually is. Okay, that's frightening, that's unsettling. But isn't there something comforting about like nothing's ever behind you? It's just elsewhere in the frozen river.
Yeah,
and that's kind of a beautiful way to think about death.
I actually just realized something that. We actually have all learned the same lesson when we were somewhere between 2 and 4 years old, when we learn about object permanence.
Mm-hmm.
When, kids think that when you leave the room, you're just gone forever. Like infants, infants and toddlers, they don't understand that objects exist outside of themselves. They don't have a theory of mind. But we actually learn this lesson about physical space when we're in child developmental psychology. That, oh yeah, things are still there. When you drive by a building, it doesn't just crumble into dust once you can't see it anymore. It still exists. And if we can take that idea about the 3D space and apply it to 4D space, we can actually have hopefully a little bit more satisfaction in our lives.
I look at the frozen river too and go, wow, I can always go ice fishing. So, it's how you take life. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. And again, what a beautiful film. And it should be on everybody's watch list, especially during these times when we're trapped in our homes. So I appreciate your time this morning. And now you can get back to your Saturday.
Thank you.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by...
I'm Annette Civarella with Pia Anderson Moss Hoyt, Utah's leading entertainment law firm, serving clients nationwide. We provide solid, attentive representation, focusing on minimizing risk, reducing cost, and protecting the reputation and privacy of our clients. Our goal is to provide you with the legal representation you need to make the right decisions and to protect you and your creative works. Call or email me for a free consultation.